Christine Rice is a mezzo-soprano about to open in the role of Suzuki in the English National Opera's revival of Madame Butterfly. She is said to have a gorgeously velvety voice, but she did have other career options. She studied physics at Oxford and was doing a doctorate on the way light reflects in cloud, but then her plans changed. She went to the Royal Northern College of Music at the age of 23 and went on to perform at Glyndebourne at 25. Good morning to you, Christine.
Good morning.
So you tell us about this Anthony Minghella production of Madame Butterfly, rather different to perhaps more traditional interpretations of the opera.
Yes, I mean, I think you can tell that he was a cinematographer, that you get these beautiful, beautiful pictures created on the stage. That was the thing that I noticed most about this production. I mean, it's absolutely stunning visually. And, have revived it as a tribute to Anthony Minghella.
And he, of course, died a couple of years ago, didn't he? Very suddenly.
Yes, and it's his widow that's been reviving it.
So the character of the little boy is quite significantly played by a puppet, which I can't understand how that works. So tell me how that works. Yes,
well, the puppet is controlled by three adult puppeteers. And we did a lot of work with the puppet, actually. And it's amazingly detailed, the work that they do physically to create an incredibly lifelike performance. I mean, that you do find yourself responding to the child as if it is a child. Yeah, absolutely. You feel all the emotion towards the puppet as if it was a child, a real child there on the stage. And I think, for the audience, they cease to see the puppeteers behind it and they do just see the child.
Now, Suzuki, if anybody doesn't know, is the loyal servant.
Loyal servant, absolutely. Best friend, confidant, lifelong partner, if you like, to Butterfly. She's the one who really lives alongside Butterfly. But
she understands the depth of her suffering actually before Madame Butterfly herself does, doesn't she?
Yes. No, she sees the writing on the wall, and I think she's an important character in that. The audience can channel through her. They have a very similar sort of journey in that they understand that Butterfly is doomed, and so does Suzuki, really.
Well, we want to hear you singing, I think, before we haven't actually, unfortunately, got an extract of you in Madame Butterfly, but it does start tomorrow night, is that right?
That's right, yes.
Yeah, okay, but
tomorrow.
Here is you. Here you are. Here is you. Tell us about this, because this is Dopo Notte by Handel. This is you. And what to just put this into place for us.
This is Ariadante, one of his greatest roles.
Right.
And Ariadante has had, trauma and has attempted suicide and had his heart broken. And this is the final sort of denouement of the opera, where he suddenly realizes that everything's going to come together and he's going to get his lover back, and it's the absolute high point, and he sings that his boat is returning to the safe harbour.
Okay, so here you are as a man, using your mezzo-soprano voice. We'll talk about more about that in a moment. Here it is. Now, there is this well-worn cliche, I think, from the world of opera, that mezzo-sopranos play witches, bitches and britches.
Indeed, yes.
And blokes, hence the britches.
Yes, yes.
How much of a challenge does that present to you?
I'll say I love it. I love it. I did Arsace in Parthenope, most recently, and I had so much fun. You just have to sort of get under the skin of what you imagine a man to feel like physically, but also to feel like psychologically. And it's a very different way of thinking. It's a very different way of sort of seeing the world.
Is it liberating? Do you feel better?
It's incredibly, well, it's just incredible. It's just a great sort of act of imagination. So it's not one where you can just pick up the score and and take the information that's there and just use it. You have to do that little bit more, to transfer, yourself from sort of woman's psychology to a man's psychology, and I just think that that's so interesting, because then you can draw on all the men that you've known, your brothers, your boyfriends, your husbands,
you can
fathers.
Get a lot out there, can't you, actually? It's probably quite good for the soul. And I don't want to be crude, because you were being very intellectual there, but you have sometimes worn a sort of appendage, haven't you?
Yes. Again, this was at ENO. Yes. No, the costume department. There was a scene in Agrippina where Nero had to drop his trousers, having been caught in a cupboard, hiding from another lover that had arrived for Poppaea. And because I had to drop my trousers, of course, I was down to underpants, and they felt it very necessary that there was some truth on the stage. So I had a little sort of beanbag, knitted penis.
Right, filled with, we may as well have all the detail, filled with lentils,
yes.
Yeah. Which is all a very long way from your PhD.
Indeed.
At Oxford, which you abandoned. I mean, this is quite a dramatic change of career, isn't it? At 23, to decide that what you really wanted to do was to become a singer. So how did that happen?
Yeah, well, I think it's always a gradual process, isn't it? I never felt quite comfortable when I was doing my PhD. It was quite lonely work. It was sort of me and a computer. And I'd always loved doing drama, and I had started to sing. I'd started having singing lessons. And, it certainly wasn't my intention going to music college to become a singer, because I think nobody in their right minds can know that that's the career path that will, come true for them. But I wanted to have some time to devote to it, because I thought it would be a lifelong pleasure, even if I then decided to be an accountant or something completely different.
Well, you were never going to be an accountant, were you? Because your PhD was on the way light reflects on clouds.
Yes. But then people do all sorts of things after, studying.
Well, yes, and I don't want to deride accountancy, but that actually could have had real implications for, I don't know, for climate change research.
Yes, no. I mean, the reason I sort of started the PhD was very much that I wanted to sort of make some contribution and in such an important field. And I suppose that was also one of the things that I felt slightly disappointed in, is that, you can spend a lifetime working and contribute a small sort of drop in the ocean, because there's so much that we don't know. And perhaps that shows me as a rather sort of cup half empty rather than cup half full person, that I felt that I would not contribute enough somehow in doing.
Dear, you're being very hard on yourself. That's rather female, I'm afraid. But you have got, you seem to me to have an amazing life. You've got 3 young children.
Yes.
You're expecting your 4th.
Yes.
And so presumably there's no room for Christine the diva at home. But
no,
you can do a bit of that when you're at work, can't you?
Yes, you could if you wanted to. I mean, I have to say, the colleagues that you have at work, you have so much more fun with them if you don't exhibit diva qualities, if you rub along and
come on.
And have fun.
Isn't it? We were talking about flouncing and association with politicians earlier. Do you ever flounce at work?
No, I don't think I do.
And if you
Sorry to
disappoint. If you flounced at home, the kids would take no notice.
Well, quite.
So there's no point bothering. Well, thank you very much for coming in. I really appreciate your time, because I know you're very busy. And,
great pleasure.
The Madame Butterfly, the ENO's version of the revival of Anthony Minghell's Madame Butterfly starts at the Coliseum.
Yes, tomorrow night.
Best of luck with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Christine Rice.